Hello and welcome to tutorial 3, building digital exhibits with Darwin. This week we're going to try starting to make a quiz. So let me launch my story. Here it is. It's called All About Tea. I'll click edit, and if you remember, we have got a front page. We've got a page all about the history of tea. I'm going to use the tools palette here to whiz through. We've got a drag and drop game, and we've got some pop-ups. So let me use this control to go back to the first page, and I'll come back in here. So what we're going to do is make a series of pages for our quiz, an introductory page, some question pages, some answer pages, and also what we're going to do is track the visitor's score as they go through the quiz, which is easy to do using Darwin. So let us start off by, I'm going to copy this page and we'll call it quiz intro. So let's do that. Quiz intro, there we go. Now there's the original page. It says down here page 2, and here's quiz intro. So I'm going to delete almost everything from this page, and it's going to be a nice new template for our quiz. So I'll get rid of that, yes please, and finally get rid of that. That's marvellous. Now let me just save this as we're going along, save and continue. So I think I want the quiz to be a slightly different colour. So what I'm going to do is put a coloured square over the entire page. So here's a new rectangle that I've made, and I'm going to come into my info pop-up, and here is size. I'm going to make it full size. I'll push it down to the very, very bottom there, so now we can't see it. Put it up one layer. So now it's over the top of the tea bags, and I will whack the alphabet back a bit like that. And that's that. And in fact I might. There we go. And now there's the home button on the top of it as well. So let me just save this. Then continue. And this is my new template for quite a few pages. So what I'm going to do is copy this 3 or 4 times now. So I'll go to pages and copy many pages. I'm going to choose quiz intro. I'll call it quiz 1, quiz 2, quiz 3. Copy those pages. That's lovely. So now let's add some text. I'm going to call it question 1. In my info panel, I'm going to make this text really very big indeed. Something like that size. Question 1. I'm going to center this on the page. So that's in the exact center. Up here in the right hand corner of the info panel, we've got center it vertically and horizontally. And I am going to make this bounce down. So it's going to look after about 0.2 seconds. We can now set the speed of any appearance effect. I'm not going to do that for this. Question 1, and let's save and continue. And now I'm going to add a button that takes me to, I'll call this Go. I'm going to change the font. Let's make it that big, and that is going to go to quiz page 2, and we'll push that to the left, which means the entire screen will move to the left, and that is going to push up after about 1 second. So the question 1 text will appear first, then this button will appear, and let's just center that horizontally, and I'm going to save that. And so now let's go to question 1. Oh, before I start, actually, I'm going to choose which of the Darwin visitor variables to set in my quiz. Now, there are 10 of these. And if we go to the info panel down to the action section, we can see something called set. If I click here, we can see we've got 3 visitor values, 6 scores, and what we call a saved page. Now, you can put anything in any of these. But these are to say, for help, visitor value 1, 2, and 3 may be something like the visitor's name, the email address, and a comment. And then scores are very helpful for tracking scores, tracking people's movement through your activity. Saved page is something that you can set with any button and then you can have a button that says go to the saved page. So if you have a page that you access from lots of different places, when you go to that page, you can invoke the saved page to go back to where you were before. So I'm going to set score 1, and I'm going to set it to be 0. So on this page, when we press this button, score 1 will be set to 0. So let me save this and continue. And I'm going to go to the next page. I'm going to build a question and 3 options. I'm going to do that with standard Darwin, so you don't need to see that very quickly. So, or slowly even. So let me do that in sped up super mode. Quick, let me have some coffee. Okay, so here is my page. We've got a question and we've got 3 exciting answers. Now you can see if I click the info button and show the info panel that these 3 buttons all go to page quiz 2. So they're all going to go to the same page, and then what we do on the next page will be determined by the answer on this page. So we're going to set, if you say not vary, we're going to set score 1, and we're going to say type in -1, which removes 1 from the answer, from their score, sorry. And here I'm going to set score 1 to be +1. That will add 1 to the answer. And here I'm going to set score 1 to be +2, which adds 2 to their answer. So let me save and continue. Now on the next page, let's add some more text. Hang on a second. Let me do this quickly for a sec. Okay, now I'm going to add some smart text onto this page. So let me do add smart text. I'll get the info up for this again, and I will mess around with my mouse so that I can't use that control. And I'm going to align this centrally. I'm going to make it red, and let's pop that just there. Tell you what, actually, let's make it a bit bigger than that. There we go. That's quite nice. And we're going to get this to bounce in after about 1 second. Now this is smart text, so on the info panel, the action for smart text is what variable or what content it's linked to. I'm going to link it to visitor score 1, and hey presto, that will be linked there. Now the next thing I'm going to do is have 3 comments based on how well our visitor did. So let me copy this one, and I'll say this is amazing, your score is, and I'll copy this one last time, and I'll say oh dear, oh dear. Okay, so I'm now going to set some rules up, which will determine when this text appears. So obviously this appears if you've got less than 0, this appears if you've got 1, and this appears if you've got 2. So what I'm going to do is go to Pages, Edit, Story Rules, and come into my rules. So rules are very, very straightforward. They're just tests really that say whether a particular variable contains a particular value or doesn't. So I'm going to say if score 1 is less than 0, if score 1 equals 1, or if score 1 is greater than 1. So those are my 3 options. So score 1 is less than 0, equals 1, or is greater than 1. Let's just save those. So continue. So, oh dear, your score is... Now let's determine when we show this. So in the info panel, under our appear effects, instead of show always, we'll show this only if the score is less than 0. Well done, we will show if the score equals 1. And amazing, we will show if the score is greater than 1. So I'll put these roughly in the same kind of place. And now what I'm going to do is go back to the front page and make a link to our quiz. So what I'll do is I'll copy that, and I'm going to copy that text as well, and I shall call that quiz. Put that back on there, put that back on there. I've got to link this now to the quiz intro. I'll save this. We have a new option in Darwin. We've had a couple of updates this week. Under save is save and run story. So I'm going to do that. And it'll save Darwin, close it, and open it straight up again in run mode. So let's go and see what we've got. Okay, let's try it and see how we get on. Question 1. Let's go to our first question. How lovely is tea? I'm going to say it's not very. Oh dear, your score is -1. That's not very good. So let's come back in and try a different quiz. Question 1, yes. I'm going to say, how lovely is tea? Extremely amazing. Your score is -2. So there we can see that we have asked a question, gone to an answer, and we've tracked the visitor's score and shown different content based on how well the visitor's done. This is obviously a very, very simple example, but you can do much more complicated things with Darwin. Hope you've enjoyed this little demo. See you next week.